Welcome to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, powered by the College of Southern Nevada. Each week, we'll be featuring business owners and entrepreneurs that will provide their personal recipes for business, powerful conversations, and knowledge of the business world. We amplify the stories of various backgrounds, cultures, and expertise. Our self-identity is as diverse as our social community. We cultivate a community of like-minded individuals that share their different perspectives, broadening our worldview. Are you ready? This is the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
Welcome back to the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, under the operation of the College of Southern Nevada, here at the North Las Vegas campus for another fulfilling and fitting, getting in your fit episode.
Good one, Sean. Good one,
I'm trying
Sean.
to get that right. I am your host, Sean Tory, with our guest host,
Patranya Bhoolsuwan.
back for another episode for Asian Pacific Islanders Month, ladies and gentlemen. And as you know, since we have Miss Patranya here, she is the guest lead host of today. So Patranya, I'm passing the baton to you.
Thank you, Sean. Great to be back. Great to be here on the BIB Podcast. Of course, we're featuring great entrepreneurs, and especially for this month, Asian American entrepreneur here in Southern Nevada. So we're so excited to have our guest here with us, Rose Peterson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
Rose.
me.
So good to see you. So Rose, tell us a little bit about what you do, because you're kind of mixing fitness, nutrition, entrepreneur, kind of all into one for your business, right?
Yeah, so I'm a personal trainer and a nutrition coach, and I have a passion for training, a passion for teaching people nutrition, but I also realized there were some gaps in there that people needed extra support. And so when I launched my coaching business, and with the experience of teaching people in the gym, teaching people nutrition, I realized there's support at home and in our daily lives, and how are we going to make all these changes stick?
Right.
So that's kind of how my coaching was born, is there's mindset, support, coaching, and that's it. And building a business off of the internet and in person, that was a whole journey too.
Yeah, this is, you're combining everything because, as you know, that's kind of what people are looking for, to be their best self, right? Healthy, happy, positive.
Yes.
And so you're kind of combining that. And your business is called?
So it's RP Fitness and Nutrition, and that's just short for Rose Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I launched a new coaching program for women called Fit and Confident Academy. And like I said, I wanted to coach the whole person and not just fitness and nutrition, because like I said, there was gaps I felt, and women, I think we don't have enough support, and we actually don't ask for it. We always think that we need to do everything, be everything, and we don't ask for help. So that's kind of how the academy was born, is that it's a place of support, shared interests. Like I have other clients that we train together, and it's been an amazing evolution seeing that come together.
By the way, Sean, she's also competing in an Olympic weightlifting.
What?
I mean, on top of all of this.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
For weightlifting?
Olympic weightlifting.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yes.
Olympic weightlifting.
So I'm talking to an Olympian?
Well, she's getting away
She's getting away
But
there?
this is what's kind of
Okay.
inspiring, because she's doing so much, but at the same time, this is what being an entrepreneur is
This
all
is
about.
all about. You're right. Man, give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now.
That's so awesome. So let's get some backstory here.
Yes.
You know, so you started this because of your own journey, what you learned from a particular coach that inspired you to be a coach yourself, right?
Exactly. So I think my story is very similar to a lot of moms, where we have our kids and we passionately want to get our pre-baby bodies back.
Right.
And there's so much information out there with, like, you know, Shape Magazine, 1,400 calorie diet. I mean, I did all that. These celebrity workouts in the magazines, getting the books. I've done paleo, I've done Atkins, all the things. And I just could not figure out, it just felt hard while raising my kids. You know,
Right.
you just didn't have enough energy. And then there was these old thought process of punishing your way thin. And I felt like it was a miserable process. And I hated it. Like, I tried to force myself to become a runner, which
If you hate running, you're not going to stick with
Exactly.
it. Yeah. Sean knows this well.
Yes, I do.
So I probably started couch to 5K, 10K like 4 times.
Wow.
And I got pretty good at one point. And at one point I got to that like run for an hour straight. And I'm like, okay, today's the day. I'm going to run for an hour straight and I'm going to fall in love with running. I'm going to get that runner's high that everyone's talking about. This is maybe on like week 6 or something like that.
Right.
And I never came. And I just kept stopping and kind of giving up because it was just exhausting. So I finally decided to hire a coach because I think I was on Facebook and something came up about nutrition coaching. And I thought, okay, I've tried it all. Let me get an expert. So through nutrition coaching, I learned like, hey, there's strength training and strength training burns calories too. But as a bonus, you gain muscle. And when you gain muscle, you boost your metabolism. And it's enjoyable. And this group that I was in, they were not bodybuilders. They weren't like what I would think for a strength training. They were regular people, my age, and they were doing like Flex Friday and like Hump Wednesday, like showing off their glutes. And I'm like, I wonder if there's something to this. So I learned through that nutrition coaching experience that it didn't have to be all or nothing, that it didn't have to be, you have to be in a diet forever to maintain your weight. So I learned about strategies and I learned how weight loss really works, like the law of thermodynamics, which we won't dig into here, but that it didn't really matter that I would have a donut on Sunday morning with my kids. Like that could fit in the plan. So once I joined this community and saw everyone be getting like strong and buff and eating donuts, I was like, let me learn more about strength training. So they set me up with a plan, did it on my own. I was successful for like a month or 2 and then realized I need coaching. Like I kind of know what I'm doing, but I'm also like watching YouTube and hopefully thinking that I'm doing the right thing. So I looked for another coach because I'm like, coaching for nutrition worked. I guess let me look for another coach for strength training. This is totally new to me. Like I didn't know, I knew people had personal trainers, but I thought like celebrities have personal trainers and people who had lots of money or something. And I fell in love with strength training. So once I went to that gym, it was like, I've been actually with the same coach since 2015.
Hey, come on. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause.
It just was very empowering. And so instead of doing fitness to run my way thin or punish myself for having ice cream with my kids, it was like, this food is fueling me to become stronger. I see myself being stronger. I could get off the floor without using my hands. Right. That was an aha moment one time for me, is that I'm playing on the floor with my kids and I could feel my abs like standing up. I'm like, wait a minute. I used to have to roll over, put my hands on the ground, push myself up. And I started to notice like this was the way for me. And as I was getting stronger, eating more than I ever had in my entire life, like I'm like, oh, I can eat all this food and I'm getting leaner and stronger. Wow. I felt like I had to shout from the rooftops to tell other mothers that you don't have to feel guilty. Your journey doesn't have to be miserable, that there's another way and it's so much more satisfying. It's so much more empowering. Like I felt like every woman should strength train. So then I became a trainer myself. And because I was training friends and I was at softball with the softball and soccer moms. We were doing lunges and squats in the parking lot while our kids were, because I'm like, hey, we don't have to run. We could do this stuff and we can get a great workout in 20 minutes. And so then I knew the next step for me was the nutrition piece, because you've probably seen people in the gym that are very consistent, but then you're like, hey, I've seen you come here for 6 months and you still look the same. Yeah. Right. So, so then I went and got certified for nutrition coaching, and I went through a level 1 and level 2 program. The level 2 is more of like behavior change, because that's the hard part. Right. But that I became almost even more passionate about, because there's so much misinformation about nutrition, and there's so much misinformation about effective ways to lose weight. And there's multiple ways to lose weight, but the best way is what you can stick to. What you can stick to. And what you could be consistent with.
Because I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm so glad I'm sitting here with you.
Yeah.
Because I remember being 23, I was at 250 at the time. But then I went through a process where I was joining the org, and then I lost all this weight. But a part of that was stress, but then they made me change my diet too.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to lose all the weight. But now I'm 31 years old, and
it gets harder.
Losing weight is completely different, and I don't know how to lose weight like I used to. So I haven't been lifting weights like I normally do, because I can hit 315. I used to lift,
Yeah.
and now I'm kind of scared, because it's like, man, I don't know if I should go back lifting or I should run. What would you suggest? Because a huge part of it has been my nutrition too. I wasn't eating the best, but now for the past 2 months, I've been eating better.
Yeah.
But I've been struggling to go back to the gym, because I'm afraid of because I used to be real ripped up and stuff, but then you drop off the weights, it affects you. So it turns into fat. So what would you say to someone like me who's been on and off on the gym? But I used to be consistent, but now that I'm a dad, I'm not as consistent like I used to be. What would you say to someone like that?
So firstly, go back to lifting weights. I'll say that 100%. Don't be afraid to go back to that. But second, the reason why it's so much harder as we get older, it's not really our age. It's that we're managing so many different things. I just talked to you about all of your passions and endeavors. You have kids, you're about to get married, you have a fiance. So we're juggling so many different things more than ever before.
Right.
So it's hard to make yourself a priority. The other piece is we go through a lot of stress, lots of stress.
Yes.
And
Tell me
there's
about
more
it.
and more research about how stress affects us. And so being under stress makes it harder to stay in line with our goals, because your body is hardwired to want to not feel that stress. So maybe you cope with gummy bears, like we were just talking about.
Your favorite.
My favorite.
Or maybe some people that I see, they think that they want to, like we were talking about running your way thin or punishing your way thin.
Right.
And they're doing 6-7 hours of workouts a week. And what happens is they're super hungry. They end up eating back what they burned, not intentionally, because they feel like some of it is, I earned this, I worked so hard.
Right.
Some of it is your body is super hungry. You're stressed from working out. You're stressed from daily life. You're stressed from just everything. So even exercise is stress. So you have all these different stressors, and that's why almost less is more. So for most of my clients, they get amazing results. Same with me on 3 times a week strength training, and then sprinkling in the cardio for support.
Right. Wow.
Not like the other way around, which everyone always thinks. Like they think that at the end of class, they should be, you got to pick them off the floor and they're dripping in sweat.
Everyone's dripping in sweat, right?
Exactly. When it's really the opposite. And the reason being is we need to recover to be able to keep going.
Right.
And also not stimulate these hormone responses and natural responses to say, I need more food. I'm stressed out, I need more food. Like we're always in this fight or flight, and your body wants more energy via food to support all the stress that we're under. So more exercise is not actually better. And that's why when we talked earlier, people always hear 80% nutrition. That's so, so true.
Right.
But I think that we kind of think in our minds that workouts are actions. So it's like we want to take action by going to the gym and I'm doing something. But the harder part is the nutrition. But that's what you're going to see the results is through that. But yeah, back to you in your specific situation is like, I would definitely go back in the gym.
Go back in the gym. Okay.
You're going to increase your muscle mass, which is going to in turn naturally increase your metabolism. The more muscle you have on your body, then the more calories you need to eat to keep that muscle. Right. And then going back to a little bit of what you said, well, I stopped lifting and it turned to fat.
Yeah. That's
actually not what happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not what happened. What happened was you lost your muscle from stop lifting.
Right.
But then sounds like your lifestyle changed and you didn't match that activity.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So then your eating habits may have stayed the same, but your activity changed and you gained weight. So I hate to say that to you, but your muscle doesn't like turn into something else.
Okay, well, no, that's good to know because I had no clue.
Yeah.
I honestly did not know that.
You just lost it. Yeah, that's all.
Because it's weird to me how I can go, I would say it's been for the longest, was like a couple months without lifting. And then I go to the gym and I still have that strength. And I'm like, okay, I can get back into this, right? And I don't lose it. But it makes sense now that you say that, because it's like, all right, I can still lift what I was doing before.
Yeah.
Right?
What's cool is that since you've already gained the muscle once, the second time around or third, fourth, whatever your attempts are, muscle memory is a true thing. So you'll actually get that muscle back so much quicker than if you had to build back up.
Yeah. Man, that's, wow, come on. Taught us something new today. Patranya, come on.
Yes.
Hey, she's an inspiration, and that's why it's so great to talk to someone like this, because as entrepreneurs, which most of your listeners, people who are listening to the show, you deal with stress. I mean, from work, from family, from career, life, everything in place. But at the same time, we need, and as we get older, we realize how important it is to stay healthy, because we need that to keep our career, our goals going. And like you're trying to get back in shape for many reasons.
I just want to be healthy.
You want to be healthy.
Like a lot of folks are dying now. Like I think I took life for granted. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like COVID really made me see. Like I've had a few friends that I lost due to COVID, and I know some of the things you can't control. Right. But I'm like, okay, I gain a lot of weight.
The things that you can control.
Yeah, let me control that. Right.
Yeah.
So and part of that is health.
Yeah, and that's at the core of your business, right? You want to help people.
Yes.
But at the same time, what we wanted to bring you here and talk about, it's also this running this business that's based on fitness, based on nutrition. And you said there's some challenges there. Like, and the big part of questions, I've been on the show with Sean, and he asked me some tough questions, is just kind of the challenges you've gone through and kind of how you overcome it, and the advice that you can give for other people that may be running similar business to you.
Oh, absolutely. So a couple things, and I think this came out of COVID too, is we saw a lot of people who wanted to open an online business, right? So they had to transition to online. And then there's also Instagram that glamorizes online businesses. But what I think that people miss the mark is you will gain more business person to person, meeting people if you can, even if that's a Zoom meeting, than you are to try to speak to millions of people on Instagram online. And so I learned that the hard way. At first, when I launched my business, I really wanted to focus on the nutrition part, because I felt like that's where people struggle the most. And I would see people I lived with that were strong, amazing, but it's like, I know you got muscle under there. Let's peel back some of the stuff that's hiding that muscle. So I first launched online nutrition coaching, and I found that I used to joke that I'm advertising my business from my little corner of the internet. Mm-hmm. And I struggled with that for about a year or two. So first, I felt like I was casting this wide net of like, hey, people on Facebook, I do nutrition, I can help you, and like there'd be like maybe 5 or 10 of people who knew me that would say, hey, I need help. Let me see if you can help me. But then after you exhaust your initial friends list, it's like, how do you keep gaining business?
Right.
And honestly, it's meeting people where they're going to be. Right. So the first year of my business, it was mostly virtual. And I felt like I'm posting content, I'm doing all the things. And I think the problem was trying to speak to a general audience, which is why I niched down to moms, is because, I need to people know I'm smart, or they know that I know my thing, but I'm not speaking to pain points. I need to talk to why do they want to listen to me, or why would I be the right coach for them? And so I learned about that, number one. But number two is being in the place where you're going to solve the problem. So after the first year, I decided to go to work away from the home. So I stayed home. I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years before I worked away from the home. And so I went looking for a job. I was like, well, I have these certifications. I need real world experience. At the time, I was just training my friends and their husbands, and it's like, and then I had just my circle of friends that needed nutrition advice. So I got my first personal training position at a high-end club in town. And that grew me so much. And I think that at first, because I listened to so many Instagram influencers, and they tell you that you can grow your business, and people are there to spend money on it, and all that stuff. I mean, unless you have a following that's 20, 40, 50,000 plus, it's really hard to try to gain income that you can live on,
That's true.
So that and real world experience. So people who are if you're a personal trainer or thinking about training, you need to listen to this part, because I think that there's this misconception that if I can get myself in shape, I can get others in shape.
Yeah.
But without ever doing it. And so they start selling programs online or doing virtual coaching from the get-go. But you need to work with other people, person to person, to get that
and build
experience.
that relationship.
And build that relationship
Exactly.
and longevity, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Relationships are really important, but like getting good at what you're going to do you need to be able to gain real experience. So from working there, I did nutrition coaching there. I also did personal training there. But what opened the door is meeting tons of new people outside of my circle.
Right.
Yeah. So you need to.
And you're in the right place, because you said it's a high-end club where people have that money to spend on things like, what do they call it? The dispensable income?
Yes.
Dispensable income?
Yep.
So they have something that they don't, the extra. It's the extra thing, right? I mean, they can pay for gas, they can pay their rent, whatever, but now they can do something for themselves.
Exactly.
Right.
And speaking from an entrepreneur space, it was also the perfect place to find leads and practice sales, because you have people walking in the door that want to be sold to. So it's hard to practice sales or find leads from your little corner of the internet, right? So once you be in a place where you're helping people solve problems, now you have to stand out among other trainers or people in your building and force yourself to meet people that you can help solve their problem. So I think that being in that, if you want to work in the health and fitness space, you have to have that real world experience. And half my business, if not more, is networking, meeting people, and putting myself out there. And if you don't do that, if you just hope that your manager is going to send you a client your way, it's not going to be good. I mean, I saw so much trainer turnover, and I used to say, like, this place, you could really build a business, because people who are walking in the door, one, they're looking to get their problem solved. So that's one. Whether they have money or not, they're looking to get their problem solved.
Right.
And then number two is this gym pre-qualified everyone in here, because it costs $200 a month for one person to join.
Yeah.
So if you couldn't make it in there, I thought, like, man, how are you going to make it somewhere else? So for me, I felt like I had some of the best sales training in the world, because I learned how to listen to people, find out what their problem was, and then figure out a solution for them. And if you could do that, if you can solve someone's pain point and show them, the other end of the rainbow, they'll pay anything.
Right.
I mean, I've parents in there that hire trainers for their 12, 13, 14-year-old kids because they want them to be good at sports. Like, parents will pay anything. I know I'm going down on a tangent on this, but it's a good experience to be able to know sales, know how to network, know how to solve a problem. And if you're just waiting for opportunities, they're not going to come to you.
But I feel like that in any business, it doesn't have to be fitness, nutrition, right? Like finding that universal, getting out of your space. And I was just telling, another interview we were just talking to about how you got to get yourself out there. A lot of times as Asian Americans, we're saying sometimes it's our cultural barrier not to promote ourselves or to brag,
that's so true.
Right? You get that. And so, but being an entrepreneur, a successful one, there's that fine line between marketing yourself, but still, staying humble, but also people got to know you. And that's the reason you got out of your little space in your house and go to this gym, because you want to get yourself out there.
Yes, that's so true. But I think that what works even better than marketing yourself is just wanting to really genuinely know each person and figuring out a way that you could solve their problem. And I even say to people, I may not be the right person for you, but I probably can point you in the right direction. And I have people that reach out to me frequently, and I refer out. Like, if I have someone that we get on the phone and we're talking and I'm trying to figure out their goals, and they tell me how they loved kickboxing 10 years ago and how they just that was a passion of theirs, but they had kids and they put it off to the side, and we keep talking, and I'm like, you know what? I know a personal trainer that will come to your house, and he is certified in teaching you kickboxing. So let me hook you up with him. So and people will remember that. People will remember that. And that's another way that you can advertise your business, it's not about you, it's about your customer. And how
like
can
that.
you help
that.
them?
Come on, man. Come on, talk about it. Talk about it, man.
And that's generally what it is. I think for many business owners is we're all trying to help solve a problem. We're trying to convey to people that we're the best solution for them. But if you just listen, genuinely listen to what their needs are, and have a genuine interest in helping solve their problem, they will be your best cheerleader and your best referral, even if you didn't try to force a product on them,
Man.
Love it.
So, like, if you would like me to ask this infamous question.
Yes, do it. You're better at it, so you do it.
Can you think of a time where you planned something and it didn't go accordingly? Like, how did you make it work?
I planned something and didn't go. Okay, so going back to online marketing, okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of people out there that talk about course creation. And I think it's great to have all your ideas, your education and knowledge in a course that's accessible that you can sell to somebody. But I feel like there is people that are spending so much time in their knowledge, and I went down this route, spending weeks, months, creating this course and like not having, and then at the end, like you just spent 3 months creating a course or 3 months doing like a 5-day challenge or something. And in that time, you could have used that same time to meet people and build your business. Mm-hmm. And some people will never launch that course because they feel like it needs to be perfect. So what I want to say is that like, I thought I could just run 5-day challenges and run all these 5-day challenges, get people to sign up for a free 5-day challenge, and then they would get to know me. And I wasted a lot of time doing that.
Oh, wow.
And I had, I think I ran 2 or 3 5-day challenges, and I put a lot of time, money, effort into these things. And maybe I would end up with 1 customer, maybe. And so I'm just like, man,
So the return on investment just wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it.
No.
Yeah.
And it was really needing to, I had to put that to bed because it exhausted me to like come up with these challenges, run them. And in our industry, it would be called like a launch, right? So you'd launch this course or you'd launch this challenge. But I have grew my business so much more having personal one-on-one conversations, meeting people than to just create some course. I would say that would maybe be helpful for somebody who had, like I said, has a big following and someone that could they can market to 1 million people and maybe 1,000 will buy, right? But if you are that's kind of why, I hired others to help me get the word out about what I'm doing, is because I realized that there's business here in this city and that I would rather work locally. So to answer your question, like how did I pivot? I just decided that the World Wide Web was not going to be my main source of business. It was going to be the people that are right here in my community that need help. Yeah. So
Come on, man. I love it.
yeah.
I love it. She coming with the answers, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and this is great information. We're reaching entrepreneurs, but there are people doing so many things, right? And you don't think about the kind of challenges that you go through that's kind of unique to your field, but also at the same time, what other people in different fields are going through as well.
Yep.
So.
Not to say I won't run another 5-day challenge because I feel like I might now at some point soon. But I would guess I would more speaking to someone who's just launching themselves. Build your network first.
Right.
Like don't get buried in creating courses. And then something that I say, which probably drives my assistant crazy, is I say like, I have ideas and I just launch it in the air. And it's true. It's like, I don't spend a lot of time planning because you can hide behind that. And I did that for half of 2020 when we were shutting down. I'm like, okay, this is the year I'm going to write my course. Because we're shut down and I can help people by writing course. And I just wasted a lot of time, money, and investing in other mentorships that taught me how to write a course, but it didn't really bring back the return.
The return for you.
So I think that just gaining the business with people that are in your immediate network is much more fulfilling in the beginning.
Well, moving on from challenges, because we've all gone through that, we want to go into some good things that her business and Rose is going through. So let's get to
The happy hour. Exactly.
So this is the time when we talk about what's going great, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to keep focusing on moving forward, what's right about your business. And to get you in the mood for happy hour, we got a little gift for you.
Oh,
Here you
thank
go.
you.
On behalf of the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats, this is from us to you.
Oh
And
my
it's
gosh.
perfect for a fitness person.
Yes,
It
it is.
is. Oh my gosh. And yes, I'm always wearing a hat.
See,
And
perfect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, thank you so much.
Something told us today, put them hats in there.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
So tell us what's going great for you. What do you want to kind of leave people with that this is all worth it in the end?
Yes. What's going great for me is that I've really evolved my business to helping solve not just fitness and nutrition, like problems or pain points for people, but also, okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. So one of my friends said that I want people to speak my name when I'm not in the room. And that's starting to happen for me a lot. And that's what's going good. I want to say that's what's going good. And the thing that I feel good about it is that it's based on my reputation.
Come on, talk about the reputation.
Right.
Exactly. So a lot of my leads now are coming from referrals, or I get tagged in a Facebook group, which they're usually local groups. And like I said, your business is right here locally, right in front of you, where there's someone saying, I need help with my nutrition, I need help with training. And more people I don't even know are tagging my name. So that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know this person.
Right.
But they must have read something, or they saw maybe a testimonial, or maybe I tagged some clients and cheered their success on. And because I tagged them, they saw me.
Right.
So that I can say that I finally feel like I could say like, hey, Ashley, people are saying my name when I'm not in the room. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I feel like I'm also really happy about figuring out where my strengths are. So after, coaching for 4 years and working outside of the home and really listening to a lot of people's pain points, I found that there were so many common things. And so now I'm celebrating the launch of trying to solve all of those with the Fit and Confident Academy. So that's pretty exciting.
Talk about it.
And it's been validated too, because I've been signing up women like left and right. So I feel like that academy is very unique in the sense of, I don't know if we already spoke about this now or earlier, but with setting women up with a personal stylist so they feel good now. Building support and community so that we cheer each other on. Talking about more than just fitness and nutrition, but also like helping women overcome common obstacles. Like I felt like there was that missing piece. And so I'm feeling really happy about the launch of that, because more and more women are signing up as I talk about it. And so I'm like, okay, this was something that was truly needed, because if not, then I wouldn't keep getting yeses. And so that's what's been pretty cool. Plus, you mentioned Olympic weightlifting. That's going good too.
Yeah.
I'll be competing in 3 weeks in Salt Lake.
Congratulations on that. Yes,
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on all your success. We're so happy to see, another entrepreneur doing so well. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Can you drop all your social handles? Where can people find you?
Where can people find you?
So I love making new friends. So friend me on Facebook, because I hang out on there a lot. So Rose Peterson, and it won't be weird. It'll be okay. You can friend me on there. Or you can follow me at Coach Rose Peterson on Instagram. And then my website is coachrosepeterson.com.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been phenomenal having you. Please, another round of applause for her. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary. And please give a round of applause for our guest host today, Miss Patranya.
Thank you, Sean. So great to be here.
It was definitely great having you. This is the second one, so I'm glad. Thank you for coming. Thank you for doing this for Asian American Pacific Honors Month. I deeply appreciate that.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our show. This show concludes. This is the Business Information Buffet Podcast, also known as the BIB Podcast, where everybody eats. I am your host, Sean Tory, with our guest host,
Patranya Bhoolsuwan.
and we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one.